Hey Preceptors, it's that time for your Preceptor update. So hard to believe we're already in week 8 of the semester, so we are kind of at midterm, and I'll talk about evaluations that time with that towards the end. So yay, we're halfway there. With that, you might notice that the students might be on edge, very stressed out. A lot's going on, things are piling up. So just be aware of that and that those things are occurring, supporting them, making sure that they're putting things in place and have effective strategies to manage their stress and their time. And as always, if you see anything that's concerning or need to be addressed, please contact me to let me know. But letting you know we are on the cusp of the mid-semester meltdown, so just kind of be aware of that. With that said, first years in their assessment class, they're taking their midterm this week. So they had their practical exam on lower extremity today, and they will have their midterm written on Wednesday. So asking them about that, how that went, might be beneficial and kind of help them. And then they'll be transitioning to lumbar spine and going right up to the spine and then up onto the upper extremity. They just finished emergency action planning in their integrative course, and then they're going to be going on to breathing emergencies like asthma, and they're actually going to start moving into adjunct airways. And modalities, they just finished pain, and they are starting electrotherapy. So they're super, super excited because now we're going to start to put in electrodes and work with ultrasound, start putting those things on each other. So they're super pumped about that. Moving past the theory stuff. Second years in their organization class, they just completed their facility design project, and they're moving on to health insurance billing coding. It's interesting how many of them don't know much about their own health insurance, so maybe talking to them about that or informing them or educating them about that would be a good sideline conversation. In evidence-based, we did PROMs last week, patient-reported outcome measures. And we're getting into evaluating and critiquing evidence. So reading an article, how do we critique it? How does that influence the decisions we make related to patient care? How does it inform those things? We started with statistics, so just making sure we can interpret those correctly. And then we're going to be moving on to different types of scales used to assess things. And then in the integrative class, we did general medical skills and equipment. And then this week, we're going to be doing some activities on progressing and organizing rehabilitation exercises, making sure they're picking the right ones to address certain things. So that's kind of the how classes are going on. So then to tie in comps, first years have their diabetes comp this week, and then they also have a head and neck comp coming up where they're learning how to stabilize, clear the C-spine, remove them from the field. Second years, most of them are having their head neck concussion comp this week, similar to that, to the first years, stabilize, rule out, but then they're going to have to go through and do a thorough concussion evaluation that's going to make them demonstrate a SCAT-5 and talk about the plan of care and return to play protocol and all of those things. So providing them opportunities to go ahead and kind of practice those skills or assist them would be really, really beneficial, because what students like to do when they come in for comps is they like to talk to me a lot, and they should be focusing on their patient and doing and not just explaining what they're doing. That's not the purpose of a comp. Site visits, thank you all for responding. They're all scheduled, so I've either seen you already or I'll be coming out to see you in probably the next 4 to 5 weeks, so thank you for that. I'm excited to come and see you guys at your site and visit and kind of see how things are going. So it's one of my favorite parts about my job, so I'm excited about that. Guest lecture, if you guys should have gotten the email, we're having Dr. Monstros come in to do a lecture talk on dislocations and reductions. And so that's for our second year students. And then I have about 5 or 6 preceptors of you guys that said that you also want to come. So if you're still interested, let me know. You're more than welcome to come and attend that. I think that'll be a great way for us to kind of have some some collaboration between students and preceptors, where we're kind of in this environment where we understand that there's always more to learn, right? We always don't know everything. And so I think if the student could look next to them and see the preceptor, they'd be like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, we're both here just to learn. And so that's usually can be sometimes a very powerful experience. It's mid-semester, so that means evals. So tomorrow, October 15th, you should get an email from eValue saying complete your mid-semester evaluation on your students. And then that is due on the 28th. So you get 2 weeks notice to kind of get that completed. You'll fill that out. The student will fill the exact same one out on themselves. You'll fill theirs out on you. You guys should then sit down, discuss them, have a face-to-face chat, and then see areas of weakness, strengths, and stuff, so that way we can make sure that we're aligned, and then I will go ahead and review them on eValue. But please, please, please make sure you guys should be discussing them. The student should just be completing them, and you're completing yours, and we're both being passive and not looking at them. Sit down and talk, because the purpose of this is to get better and to aid in that. So make sure that happens. And then to end, as usual, a learning tip. This week is kind of, not a specific learning tip. It actually kind of ties into what I was talking about, that reciprocal relationship. So I thought this would be a good time to kind of think about how can we foster a reciprocal relationship with our student. For some of us, that's very natural. We're open to willing and saying, like, I don't know everything, or let me know, or teach me this. But for some of us, it's a little bit more difficult, or it can be a little bit more challenging. And research shows that when a preceptor and a student feel like the relationship is reciprocal, it results in better clinical education experiences. They learn more, they're engaged more, and they just get a more robust experience. So let's try to find maybe some ways in order to have that reciprocal relationship. So a good way that I like to, or I offer to my preceptors, is let them teach you something. By you saying, teach me this, it shows you that 1, I don't know everything. 2, I'm always open to learning more. I'm intellectually curious. And 3, that they have knowledge and they have value that they can contribute. So it allows the student to recognize that, wow, my preceptor doesn't know everything, which is good. And then they also recognize, like, wow, maybe I do know something, and gives them a little bit of a confidence boost. So some ideas I had, and again, you can do this in any facet you seem appropriate, but for the first years, I was thinking ideas would be, maybe you could say, hey, tell me the evidence behind RICEs. What does the evidence support that? And then they can do a verbal explanation and tell you, well, this and this and that and that, and you can be like, oh, I didn't know. Or have them update you on pain theories. There's many pain theories that I'm educating the students on that I never learned as a student. And so there's new insights, new things to go ahead and go about that. So maybe asking them for an update. And then in the weeks to come, they're going to be covering adjunct airways. Maybe you haven't had training on adjunct airways. Maybe you don't know how to go ahead and do it on nasopharyngeal adjunct airway. And asking them, how do I do that, or how can that be demonstrated, and allowing them to demonstrate that they have that. For our second years, it could be something related to maybe patient-related oriented measures. What is a PROM? How should I use a PROM? Which ones have you seen? Or it could be evaluating or critiquing that evidence. What did you learn in your class? Or, man, it's been a long time since I thought about effect sizes and p-values. Explain that to me. Explain those things. And also, even if you know all of these things, just simply asking them to say, hey, explain this to me, or take me through this process, allows them to recognize that you're willing to learn and you're open. And when they see that, then they're more likely to initiate and respond, and we kind of have this reciprocal relationship. Or you could have them do any of those things, but have them do it with a patient. And then they're working on their patient education and improvement. Allows them to take that terminology, bring it down a notch, and then explain it. So you can use it in a bunch of different ways, but I really think giving them an opportunity where they're in the driver's seat and you're on this side and you're taking in could be really, really advantageous, especially at this time in the semester where they're melting down and their confidence is decreasing and they are overwhelmed and they feel like they don't have anything to offer. They have something to offer, so maybe giving them an opportunity to do that could be beneficial. All right, that's all I got for the week. Have another great week. We'll be in contact, mid-semester evals and things like that. So, but if you need anything, let me know. I'm always here. Thanks, guys.